Hello students, in this video we are going to study about the remaining part of this chapter. In the previous video we had seen the chapter 2, that is microorganisms, friend and foe, class 8, subject science, and in that video we had seen what is microorganisms, then different types of microorganisms, then where do these microorganisms live. Then after we had seen the relation between microorganisms and human and how these microorganisms are friendly or useful to us. In that we had seen making of curd and bread using the microorganisms or commercial use of microorganisms. Then after we had seen medicinal use of microorganisms, vaccines made from microorganisms, and how this microorganism increase the soil fertility and cleans the environment. Now in this video we will see how these microorganisms are harmful to us, then what are the diseases that is caused by these microorganisms in humans, plants and animals. Then we will see the food preservation and different methods for the food preservation, and then after at the end we will see about nitrogen cycle. So let's start with the harmful microorganisms. So microorganisms are harmful in many ways. Some of the microorganisms cause disease in human beings, plants and animals, and such disease causing microorganisms are called pathogens. Some microorganisms spoil food, clothing and leather. And now let me study about the harmful effects or harmful activities of these microorganisms. So first is disease causing microorganisms in humans. So pathogens enter our body through the air we breathe, the water we drink or the food we eat. They can also get transmitted by direct contact with an infected person or carried by an animal. The microbial disease that can spread from an infected person to a healthy person through air, water, food or physical contacts are called communicable disease. So this type of disease are known as communicable disease, which spread from infected person to a healthy person by the different mode of transmission. The examples of such disease includes cholera, common cold, chickenpox and tuberculosis. Now we will see how this communicable disease spread from infected person to a healthy person. So when a person suffering from common cold sneezes, fine droplets, that means small droplets of moisture carrying thousands of viruses are sprayed in the air. The virus may enter the body of a healthy person while breathing, and this will cause infection in the healthy person. So now Bujoho has the question that then how do you prevent the spread of communicable disease? So here the Paheli had the answer that we should keep a handkerchief on the nose or mouth while sneezing, and it is better to keep a distance from an infected person. This is how we can prevent the spread of communicable disease. There are some insects and animals which act as a carriers or transmitters of disease causing microbes. Housefly is one such carrier. The flies sit on the garbage and animal excreta. Pathogens stick to their bodies. When these flies sit on the uncovered food, they may transfer the pathogens. Now, whoever eats the contaminated or this type of food is likely to get sick. So it is advisable to always keep food covered and avoid consuming uncovered food items. Another example of a carrier is the female Anthopheles mosquitoes, which carries the parasite of malaria called Plasmodium. Now parasite, what is parasite? So parasite is an organism that lives on or in a host or other organism, which is dependent on the other organism. So the parasite, this type of malaria, that is Plasmodium, carried by the Anopheles mosquitoes. And female Aedes mosquito act as the carrier of dengue virus. So now question is that how can we control the spread of malaria and dengue? So here the female Anopheles mosquito is given to you in this picture. Paheli has another question also, that why do the teacher keep telling us not to let water collect anywhere in the neighborhood? So here the answer is given to you, that all mosquitoes breed in water. Hence one should not let water collect anywhere, that is in coolers, tires, flower pot, etc. And by keeping the surroundings clean and dry, we can prevent mosquitoes from breeding. And try to make a list of measures which help to avoid the spread of malaria. So how can we prevent the spread of malaria? So for that you have to try that by covering your arms, legs and using a mosquito net. You can avoid the mosquito bites by using insect repellents. The insect repellents, that means bug sprayer, which is applied to skin, clothing or other surfaces to prevent from the mosquito bites. So now here some common human disease which is caused by microorganism. That list is given to you. The first column is about human disease, then causative microorganisms, that means due to which microorganisms this disease is caused is given to you. Then after, the mode of transmission by which this disease spread, and then what are the preventive measures to avoid or to stop the spread of this disease. The first is tuberculosis. It is caused due to the bacteria, and this bacteria spread through the air. And the next disease is measles. It is caused due to virus, and again it is spread through the air. The next disease is chicken pox. It is also caused by viruses and it spread due to air and physical contact. The next is polio. It is also caused by virus and the mode of transmission for this disease is air and water. To prevent from this disease, what measures we should follow, that is keep the patient in a complete isolation and keep the personal belongings of the patient away from those of the others. That means we have to keep the personal things of the patient away from the other people. And vaccination to be given at the suitable age for this disease. The next is cholera. It is caused by bacteria and the mode of transmission for this disease is water and food. The next disease is typhoid. It is also caused by bacteria and the mode of transmission is water. The preventive measures is to maintain personal hygiene and good sanitary habits. Our habits should be hygienic and consume properly cooked food and boiled drinking water and vaccination. So these are the preventive measures for this disease. The next disease is hepatitis A. It is caused due to the virus. The mode of transmission is water. Preventive measure is to drink boiled drinking water and vaccination. The next disease is malaria. It is caused by protozoa and the mode of transmission for this disease is mosquitoes. And in preventive measure, you have to use mosquito net and repellents and spray insecticide, that is disinfectants, and control breeding of mosquitoes by not allowing water to collect in the surroundings. By this you can prevent or you can stop the spread of this disease. Now some of the common disease affecting humans and their mode of transmission and few general methods of prevention that we had seen in this table. Now we will see the disease causing microorganism in animals. So, several microorganisms not only cause disease in humans and plants but also in other animals. For example, anthrax is a dangerous human and cattle disease caused by a bacterium. In anthrax, the people will suffer skin form present with a small blister with surrounding swelling, and that often turns into an ulcer with a black center. And the other disease is foot and mouth disease of cattle. It is also caused by a virus. In this, the virus causes a high fever lasting for 2 to 6 days. So these are the harmful or dangerous disease in the animals which is caused by the microorganisms. So now let me see the disease causing microorganisms in plants. Here about one scientist who discovered the anthrax disease, the information is given to you that Robert Koch, that is from 1876, discovered the bacterium which is known as Bacillus anthracis, which causes anthrax disease. He discovered that bacterium. So now let me see disease causing microorganisms in plants. So several microorganisms cause disease in plants like wheat, rice, potato, sugarcane, orange, apple and other plants. The disease reduce the yield of crop. Now see the next table, table 2.2, for some such plant disease. They can be controlled by the use of certain chemicals which kill the microbes. So now let me see the disease which is caused in plant due to these microorganisms. So some common plant disease caused by microorganism. So plant disease, microorganism and mode of transmission is given to you. First is citric canker disease. It is caused by bacteria and the mode of transmission is air. The next is rust of wheat. It is caused by microorganism, that is fungi, and mode of transmission is air and seeds. Next disease is yellow vein mosaic of bhindi or okra, and this is caused by the virus and the mode of transmission is insect. Yellow vein mosaic of bhindi. It is usually occur in bhindi or okra. Now next is food poisoning. Another disadvantage of microorganism. So once Bujaho was invited by his friend to a party and he had a variety of food stuff in the party. On reaching home, he started vomiting and had to be taken to a hospital. The doctor said that this condition could be due to food poisoning. So now Paheli wonders how food can become a poison. So food poisoning could be due to the consumption of food spoiled by some microorganisms. Microorganisms that grow on our food sometimes produce toxic substance, that is harmful substance, and these make the food poisonous, causing serious illness and even death. So it is very important that we preserve or take care of food to prevent it from being spoiled. So now the question is that how can we protect our food from being spoiled, or how can we preserve the food to prevent it from being spoiled? So for that, food preservation techniques is given to you. In chapter 1 we have learned about the methods used to preserve and store food grains. How do we preserve food, or we store cooked food at home? You know that bread left unused under moist conditions is attacked by fungus. microorganisms spoil our food, and spoiled food emits or releases bad smell and has a bad taste and change color. So is spoiling of a food is a chemical reaction? So let me see that is it a chemical reaction? So Paheli bought some mangoes but she could not eat them for a few days. Later she found that they were spoiled and rotten and decayed. But she knows that the mango pickle her grandmother makes does not spoil for a long time. Now she is confused. So now let us study the common methods for preserving food in our homes. We have to save it from the attack of microorganisms and how the Paheli's grandmother's pickle does not spoil for a long time. So first method to preserve the food is chemical method. In this method, salts and edible oils, that means the oil which we can eat, are the common chemicals generally used to check the growth of microorganisms. Therefore, they are called preservatives. We add salt or acid preservatives to pickles to prevent the attack of microbes. Sodium benzoate and sodium metabisulfite are common preservatives, and these are also used in jams and squashes to check their spoilage or wastage. Jams, that is you already know. Now what is squash? So it is a syrup which is usually fruit flavored, made from fruit juice, water and sugar. So to check their spoilage, this type of salt and edible oils are used to preserve this food. The next method for preservation is common salt. Preservation by common salt. So common salt has been used to preserve meat and fish for ages. Meat and fish are covered with dry salt to check the growth of bacteria. Now what is dry salt? So it is a sea salt which have undergone the process of drying, and the maximum moisture in this dry salt is about 0.3%. And salting is also used to preserve amla, raw mangoes, tamarind, etc. What is salting? So in salting, food is surrounded in salt and keeping up that food items in the dry environment. So that is preservation by common salt. The next method is preservation by sugar. So jams, jellies and squashes are preserved by sugar. The sugar reduces the moisture content which inhibits, that means stops the growth of bacteria which spoil the food. The next method for the preservation of food is preservation by oil and vinegar. So use of oil and vinegar prevents spoilage of pickles because bacteria cannot live in such an environment. Vegetables, fruits, fish and meat are often preserved by this method. Now next method is heat and cold treatment. So you must have observed your mother boiling milk before it is stored or used. Why she is doing this? Have you ever wondered this? So boiling kills many microorganisms. Similarly, we keep our food in the refrigerator. Low temperature inhibits, that means control the growth of microbes. Now Bujo has one question, that why does the milk that comes in packets not spoil? And mother told me that the milk is pasteurized. Then what is this pasteurization? So pasteurized milk can be consumed without boiling as it is free from harmful microbes. The milk is heated to about 70 degrees centigrade for 15 to 30 seconds and then suddenly chilled and stored. By doing so, it prevents the growth of microbes. This process was discovered by Louis Pasteur, so that's why this process is known as pasteurization. So that's why the milk that comes in the packets, there is no need to boil that type of milk. The next method is storage and packing. These days, dry fruits and even vegetables are sold in sealed airtight packets to prevent the attack of microbes. So here the methods of preservation of food is given to you. So now next topic, that is nitrogen fixation, the use of the microorganism, nitrogen fixation. So you have already learnt about the bacterium rhizobium in class 6 and 7. It is involved in the fixation of nitrogen in leguminous plants, that is pulses. Recall that rhizobium lives in the root nodules of leguminous plants. In the next figure it is shown to you, such as beans and peas, with which it has the symbiotic relationship. You had already seen this symbiotic relationship in class 7, in which plant provide food and shelter to the bacteria, to this rhizobium bacteria, and this bacteria provide them with nitrogen. So this is the symbiotic relationship between these rhizobium bacteria and leguminous plant. Sometimes nitrogen gets fixed through the action of lighting also. But you know that the amount of nitrogen in the atmosphere remains constant. You may wonder how. Let us understand this in the next section, that is nitrogen cycle. So here first, roots of leguminous plants with root nodules is also shown to you. These small dots are the root nodules of this leguminous plant that is present in the roots of these plants. And in these root nodules, rhizobium bacteria takes the shelter and they fix the atmospheric nitrogen into the soil. So now let me see about nitrogen cycle. So our atmosphere has about 78% nitrogen gas, and nitrogen is one of the essential constituents or component of all living organisms as the parts of proteins, chlorophyll, nucleic acid and vitamins. The atmospheric nitrogen cannot be taken directly by plants and animals. Certain bacteria and blue-green algae present in the soil fix the nitrogen from the atmosphere and convert it into compounds of nitrogen. Now once nitrogen is converted into this usable compound, it can be utilized by the plants from the soil through their root system. Nitrogen is then used for the synthesis of plant proteins and other compounds. Now animals feeding on plants get these proteins and other nitrogen compounds from the plants. And when plants and animals die, bacteria and fungi present in the soil convert the nitrogenous waste into nitrogenous compound to be used by plants again. And certain other bacteria convert some parts of them to nitrogen gas, which goes back into the atmosphere. And as a result, the percentage of nitrogen in the atmosphere remains more or less constant. It means it remains constant. So now let me see nitrogen cycle. So here it is given to you. First, some bacteria fix the atmospheric nitrogen into the soil and it makes compounds of nitrogen in the soil. This is then utilized by the plants to make proteins and other components. So it is uptaken by plants. Now from these plants, animals eat these plants who is feeding on the plants. They are taking this nitrogenous substance from the plants. When these both plants and animals died, the nitrogenous waste from the excretion of and death that again mix with the soil. Nitrogenous substance again mix in the soil. Now from this soil, the bacteria again turns the compounds of nitrogen into gaseous nitrogen. Some of the bacteria turns this nitrogenous compound into nitrogenous gas and it goes again back to the atmosphere. Now from the atmosphere the nitrogen fixed by lightning process or by the nitrogen fixing bacteria that fix the atmospheric nitrogen into the soil. So bacteria in turn fix nitrogen into nitrogenous compound. So again the nitrogenous compound that is made in the soil by the some of the bacteria. So this is the nitrogen cycle, and this is how the amount of nitrogen remains constant in the atmosphere. So now next let me see what we had learned from this chapter. So we had seen that microorganisms are too small and are visible to the unaided or bare eyes. They can live in all kinds of environment ranging from ice cold climate to hot springs and desert to marshlands. Then we had seen microorganisms are found in air, water and in the bodies of plants and animals. Then we had seen they may be unicellular or multicellular. Microorganisms include bacteria, fungi, protozoa and some algae. Viruses, though different from the above mentioned living organisms, are considered as microbes. Viruses are quite different from the other microorganisms. They reproduce only inside the host organism, bacterium, that is plant or animal cell. Then we had seen some microorganisms are useful for commercial production of medicines and alcohol. Some microorganisms decompose the organic waste and dead plants and animals into simple substance and clean up the environment. Protozoa cause serious disease like dysentery and malaria. Then we had seen some of the microorganisms grow on our food and cause food poisoning. And some microorganisms reside in the root nodules of leguminous plant. They can fix the nitrogen from air into soil and increase the soil fertility. Some bacteria present in the soil fix nitrogen from the atmosphere and convert it into nitrogenous compound. Then at the last we had seen that certain bacteria convert compounds of nitrogen present in the soil into nitrogen gas, which is released back into the atmosphere. So here our chapter gets over. In the next video we will see the keywords of this chapter and the NCERT solution of the chapter. Thank you.